Welcome to the Stemcivics show. I'm Brianna and I'm here with Gerald, Jaria, Angela, and John Forma from Top Hat Exterminating Corporation. Welcome, Mr. Forma. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is John Forma. I'm the owner and general manager of Top Hat Exterminating. I live in New Jersey, but we're based in New York City. We basically have been in business for over 40 years. I'm doing it personally about 27, and we pretty much handle anything there is when it comes to pest control, whether it's raccoons, bed bugs, whatever it comes, that's usually what we take care of.
Okay. How long have you been in it? Oh.
Go ahead.
How long have you been one?
I've been doing it since I'm 17. So
17?
Yeah, as soon as it was my family's company. And as soon as I got my driver's license, my parents basically handed me the pest control can and said, "Go to work, kid."
Did you love it? Like, did you
No.
wanted to?
No, I didn't. I honestly, I didn't think it was something I was going to do. Originally, I went to school. I went to college, graduated, and after working a few places for a brief time, I realized I wasn't a person that was meant to sit at a desk or be inside a building, and I kind of liked being an entrepreneur.
What'd you go to college for?
I went to college for business administration. I went to Iona College in Westchester, New York, and I kind of liked I liked taking my chances on myself and not necessarily going to work for a company.
So would you say, like, over time you grew a love for what you do?
Yes. With most things, the better that you feel that you get at it, the more pride you take in it, and then you realize, all right, I know what I'm doing, I know what I'm talking about, and I'm good at it. And as time goes on, you just you build on that.
So you had no choice?
Well, no, I had. Originally, there was the gross out factor. When I was, I'll tell you a story. When I think I was about 15 or 16, because my mom and my stepdad started the company, and it was a restaurant. Late at night, my stepdad said, "Listen, we don't have any guys to help." He's like, "Will you help me?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I went into a restaurant that had a big problem and helped him carry the equipment in. And he said, "Okay, we're gonna fog the place," which is something they did back then when they would just fill the room with pesticide, and whatever came out came out. Let's see, it was probably midnight, waited outside for 20 minutes, went in the building, and I thought I walked into Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom because the walls were crawling, stuff was falling. Ew. And I was like, I am never going to do this for a living. I don't care. But as time goes on, you kind of build up a callus to kind of some of the gross things that you might see. And after a while, it almost becomes entertaining.
What do you have to know or to train for to become an exterminator?
It's not that difficult. In order to become an exterminator, you have to take a course. Usually it's a 30-hour course, and you have to take some tests. And each phase of the business, you kind of have to take another test, whether, if you want to do general stuff, there's one test. If you want to do lawns, it's another test. If you want to do termites, it's another test. And then you have to work for, I think it's 3 years as an apprentice. And then you're fully licensed. And if you want it at that point, you can probably start your own business.
Have you ever been, like, bitten or attacked by anything you really had to exterminate?
Plenty of times. Plenty of times. I'm trying to think of recent ones. One of them, it was actually one of the first times I did this. I was up in a client's attic getting a raccoon out of their attic. And the raccoon was much bigger and much heavier than I thought it would be. And so I had to pick it up in the cage and get it down the stairs.
Right.
Get it down one of those pull-down stairs. And the attic wasn't finished, so I had to walk on the beams. So I'm carrying a 60, 70-pound raccoon in one hand and balancing on the beam, and that's not anything that I was that good at. And I fell through the ceiling. Raccoon got out, and wasn't a lot of fun. But there's plenty of times that if you go in a job, and one of the worst jobs to do are fleas. Because fleas don't discriminate. They bite everybody, and they really don't.
Wait,
Discriminate.
You can have fleas in your house? I thought it was like it's only on dogs.
Yeah.
No, fleas bite
Okay.
people too.
Yeah.
Fleas bite people too. That's the difference. People don't realize between bed bugs and fleas sometimes. Bed bugs only bite people. You could have your dog, your cat, they're not going to touch them.
Really?
Yep, fleas bite everything. And day, night, they don't care, especially if it gets really bad. Because there's times that I've gone into a situation where the fleas are so bad, I have to wear the suit and I have to tape up my pants and tape up the booties and the gloves and everything. And as soon as I take off the suit, they jump on me and start biting me up.
Dang.
Does their bite itch or does it hurt?
Absolutely.
Have you ever brought any home?
No, my wife would kill me. My wife would kill me. She knows. My wife knows I saw something bad at work if I stop in the garage and I don't come in, and I'd leave all my clothes in the garage floor and bag them.
So
That's when she knows. All right, he did something nasty at work today.
you have kids?
Yeah, I have 2 boys.
Do you ever take them like?
No. I eventually will. You know what? My son Luke on Take Your Kid to Work Day, I took him to a termite job.
How old is they?
Luke is going to be 12 and Brady is 7.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but when I took Luke one day to, we were doing a termite job just outside. Termites are the bugs that eat the wood and all that stuff. But it was all outside work, and there wasn't chemical on it, so I figured it was safe to bring him.
So you're gonna pass the job on to one?
No, I hope not. I hope he becomes a doctor or something else. Listen, I'm not doing all this work so he can do it. But it's good that it's there. If they ever want to fall back on it, they can, I suppose.
What's been the most disgusting experience?
All right, I got that flea one was bad. That roach one was bad. I'll tell you a funny one that happened to me a couple of years ago. I was in a basement in Manhattan, and there was I got a really gross one. All right, here's a gross one. All right, so here's a gross one. I have a bunch of high-rise buildings in Manhattan that are my clients. So all like the big apartment buildings in Manhattan, we do about 40 or 50 of them in Manhattan, and the tenants have problems, but they don't necessarily always know what it is. So this lady called. She kept having an issue, and she kept getting flies buzzing all around her apartment. Mm-hmm. And she was really complaining, and she paid a lot of rent, so we had to make sure it was taken care of. So after 3 times that we went, we couldn't figure out what it was. Until I figured out what it was. It was something died underneath her kitchen sink.
Ew, what was it?
Oh my god.
It was a family of rats. Died.
A family?
Oh my god.
Died underneath. So I had to rip out her kitchen cabinets.
She didn't smell it?
She didn't smell. She didn't smell because she was a hoarder. So,
I hate hoarders.
yeah, no, she was a legit hoarder that it was.
Oh yeah.
So she just saw the flies, but she didn't know anything else that was going on in the place.
She should have known.
So we had to tear out her cabinet, and then I had to by hand pull out the rats. I wore gloves, but I had to by hand pull out the rats from inside the wall and get it out of there, because that's the only way you can stop the flies from coming, is to get the organic matter out of there that they're living off of.
Yeah.
I hope you got paid.
Oh, we
a
got
lot
paid.
of money.
Have you ever got bitten by a rat?
I had about 3 weeks ago. We have these things called bait stations. They're boxes, and the boxes, they're tamper-proof bait stations. So the purpose of them is to keep people from getting into the poison. So if you ever go outside, you'll see at any mall, any place you go, you'll see these big black boxes outside all around the buildings. Those are all for rats. Mm-hmm. All right. So my job, or our job for the company, is to open them up, and if the bait is eaten, change it. So about 3 weeks ago, I was in this client's building, and I opened up a box, and the biggest rat I ever saw in person jumped out of it, jumped on me, ran across my feet, and ran into a restaurant.
Oh no.
Yep.
Oh no.
Yeah.
It was people in there?
There were people in there. They were cooking. As a matter of fact, the chef that was there was a friend of mine. I looked up at him. The rat ran into the building. He's a big dude. Stepped on it with his foot, and held it, and then we had to
Oh my
kill
God.
it and run it outside.
Oh.
I would panic if a rat jumped on me.
I panicked. I don't panic, and I panic.
Do you ever like get sad when you kill an animal?
Rats, no. When if I've gone into places and I've caught raccoons or possums or that stuff, and you feel bad, but I usually don't kill them. I remove them and try to find a place safe for them to go if I'm allowed
I'm
to.
against animal cruelty and
Me
and
too.
killing.
No,
so
I don't.
like that.
That's listen. So am I. The person who's the most against that is my father. My father, when it comes to animals, and he's the guy who started it. So when we used to go into buildings and pull out squirrels, when we first started, we would do any job that came. Mm-hmm. You know, that's the only way you make business is by saying yes. When even if it's stuff you don't want to do. So we would go in and get squirrels, but we would try to relocate them. You know, even the raccoons, where it was admissible, if you could find somebody that has a big piece of property and they'll allow you to let them go, you can let them go.
Now, how do you guys handle bats?
Bats are mostly fixed by doing what's called exclusion, meaning you want to seal off all their entry points, but leave them one way out. So usually, actually, I had a friend right here in Hopewell, right very close by, that had that problem. So basically, you make one exit that they can go out, but they could go out, but they can't go back in. It's like almost like a funnel, and you close off everything else around the roof line and all the other ways that they get in. So there's only one way for them to get out.
Yeah.
You know, and then the other problem with that is cleanup, because they go to the bathroom all over the place.
Yeah.
And that has to be all cleaned up as well.
You clean it up, or?
I don't. I usually have a service or somebody that I call in to do it because it's hazardous, and I move on. I tell people I'll kill them, but I won't be the mortician. I'll let somebody else bury the body.
So, what are your favorite bugs or creatures?
I don't have favorites. My favorite creature is probably my dog. But as far
Do you
as
exterminate dogs?
no, that's my third child.
I meant like during like.
No, I've gotten called for people who want us to do cats and stuff.
Okay, what's your favorite bug?
My favorite bug? Wow, that's a good question. Oh, all right, praying mantis. They help me do my job.
Those are cool.
Wait,
really?
Yeah, they
Why?
kill other bugs. That's what they mostly live off, is killing other bugs. That's how they survive. And plus, they're really cool. If I ever see one on my property, I make sure that we don't do anything that's going to cause them any harm.
Bats too, right?
Yeah, bats are beneficial too. They get rid of mosquitoes and all those things that bite you.
How far has your job taken you, like mileage wise? Like, how far have you gone?
We're locally based, but I've personally worked from anywhere from the Bronx to basically Trenton. You know, that's basically the range of where I've worked over the last 25 years.
Do you trap the pests in like cages? Like, do you put food in there and trap them in there?
Which ones?
Like rats,
Possums, yeah. Cages. You try and what they could call these have-a-heart traps, which if you can, you have to get bait, and it's a little bit tricky sometimes because they don't always willingly walk in. So you have to use the right bait. You have to use the right, make sure you don't leave your scent all over everything, and then you can get them.
So, what kind of customer bugs you? That was a pun.
Oh, boy. Let's see. The ones that don't pay.
Oh.
You got to get paid. I don't mind working, but you got to pay the bill.
So, what story? Since you have a lot of stories, what story is there of a customer that didn't pay?
No, we're doing this so long, we usually get paid, but I would say sometimes you'll tell a customer what to do and how to fix a problem so it won't recur. And then you'll walk them through how, okay, you don't want this problem again, this is what you have to do. And then the problem happens again, and they want to know why it happened again. and basically said, well, I sat you down, I told you this needs to happen. I'll give you a perfect example. In apartment buildings, in large apartment buildings, the main thing to keeping apartment buildings clean is sanitation, making sure the trash compactors stay empty, making sure the super empties that thing at least twice a day, everything's removed and taken outside the building, so then you'll walk through, give them a schedule, say this is how you're supposed to do it. That's where it starts. We can fix everything else. And 6 months later, they have an explosion throughout these buildings, and you go, have you been taking out the garbage twice a day, weekends, all the time? And they go, well, it got better. It's like, okay, that doesn't mean it stops.
How can fleas get in your house?
Usually it's brought in by a pet, or I've had people get them brought in by squirrels getting into their roof line. I've had people get them from their dog, their cat. Mostly, that's usually how it happens.
I can't believe you could get fleas.
Yeah, I mean,
Ouch.
there's cases where I've had fleas and stuff brought in. I actually have done a few funeral parlors, and one case I had where it was brought in by a dead body, and it got all over the funeral parlor.
Wait, fleas?
Once fleas and once bed bugs.
What the?
Yeah.
So bed bugs eat.
They live off blood. They don't care whether you're alive or dead.
Was like maggots there too? Like
No,
what?
it wasn't maggots. I had this one case.
But they didn't like. Oh.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
They didn't like. They didn't like take it in a funeral home or do whatever they do with it. They just left it out.
No, what happened in this one case, there was people who lived in a home, and the bed bug situation was out of control, and woman lived with her daughter. Her daughter passed away inside the house. The EMS showed up, and they couldn't even get in the house. The EMS ran in and ran out because the bed bugs were so bad that
What is the EMS?
emergency services.
Oh.
Yeah, so the emergency services, the people who run in, like the ambulance people came in, and they went in, they tried to resuscitate her, and the person who was trying to resuscitate her wound up getting bed bugs all over her.
Dang.
And they literally couldn't get back in the house, and then they called me and said, help, we have to get in there. And so I had to help them get in there and then they took the girl, and her clothes and everything on her was so infested with bed bugs that they had to fumigate the funeral home.
Can you die from a lot of bed bugs?
No.
Why couldn't
No.
their family go in since they were like used to the bed bugs? I don't know.
You know what? It was one of those situations. Sometimes people know what's right, but they don't do what's right. And so they kind of thought nobody would notice.
Oh no. How often do you like deal with hoarders?
It's happened a few times. Probably not that often, but I'd say probably once or twice a year I come across a situation where somebody's a hoarder, and it's rough.
What's your like first like impression, like when you walk in, like what goes through your head, like when you just see all the clutter and just the
Honestly, the
mess?
first thing that hits you is the smell. It's not even the clutter; it's the smell.
It stinks.
The smell hit
You
smell
know-
hits you
you know
first.
it gotta stink.
Yeah,
No hoarders.
yeah.
I seen the TV show for it.
Yep.
You
ever see on those TV shows, those guys are always wearing masks? And that's the one thing that doesn't transfer over the TV is how bad, because you don't know when you first walk in what you're walking into. They don't tell you because then the price goes up. So when you first walk in and you hear, and the smell hits you in the face, if you go to a place and there's 20 cats, that cat urine smell will knock you on your feet.
Ugh.
And then on top of that, if you have a problem to solve, that means you have to crawl around on your hands and knees and whatever you have to do to go to go fix it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What bugs are easier to exterminate?
What bugs? Good day is when I get called for ants. That's a good day because it's pretty easy and I know I'm not going to get bit.
Yeah.
What about like red ants or?
There are fire ants, but those are mostly down south. We really don't have biting ants up here.
Do you ever get like annoyed when you get a call about something that's so simple and little?
No, that's good. That's good news. That's good news. That
That's
means
more money.
Yeah, I get to make money and leave. I won't get the call again. You know.
So, like, what are little situations?
You know, it's usually pretty easy if you're doing bees. If people get bees or bees nests or beehives or hornets nests, you know, it's
Why?
usually you because you take it out, you remove it, 1, 2, 3, and it's game over.
Yeah.
They don't come out and bite you.
They sometimes do. I've gotten stung.
Wait, but don't
Bite,
you wear
I mean,
like
stung.
protective gear?
Not always. Not always. Sometimes I'd say 90% of the time when I'm doing, I don't wear protective gear because I'm so used to it. I've been doing it so long. I usually know where they're going before they do. I've learned the little tricks of like staying downwind
Yeah.
and knowing that staying a certain distance away because I know they won't get me at that distance. But I've still gotten hit a couple times.
Have you ever did snakes?
I don't like snakes. I don't like snakes.
Would you do snakes?
I would. I've gotten called for them, but snakes in homes usually are it's very rare.
Because it's like a pet.
I had one. Yeah, exactly. I had one lady call me. She's like, "Do you do snakes?" I said, and the woman was like, "I was like, well, depending on the situation." She's like, "Well, we lost our pet snake in the house." I said, "Okay, so you want me to kill it?" And so she's like, "No, don't kill it." I said, "I do not have a snake trap."
Right.
You know.
What if someone has a pet snake and it goes mad and then they call you?
No, I don't do that. That's for animal control. That's animal control. We do some of that stuff, but there's certain things I know it's out of my skill set.
You ever like paired up with them, like?
With animal control, yeah. If sometimes if there's something that's just too much for me, or if I think because in this job there's lots of rules and I have to be careful that I'm staying within the rules of what I'm. So a lot of times I have to call them up and ask them for advice. Am I allowed to do this? Am I allowed to do that? You know, because every state has their own set of rules about how you do certain types of animal control.
Is there any?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, is there any like exterminating classes you have to take, or?
Yeah, sure. To become it, and you have to get your licensing, and then you also have to keep a certain amount of credits every year, and keep your licensing up. It's not on. You don't get to keep it. If it can expire after a certain amount of years if you don't keep up with going to class and learning what's changing and all that kind of stuff.
Have you ever did like water bugs and stuff?
Oh yeah, all the time. All the time.
I hate them.
Oh, those are huge.
I know they just so big.
They
and
are
just
big.
nasty.
You know what? The little roaches bother me more because they can get in and on everything. Those other guys are just big and
Yeah, they
and
just
gross.
there.
But once you know about them and you know the little ones are way worse and way harder to fix too. Like the smaller roaches are usually like water bugs. The actual name for them is American cockroach. Okay, so those
I knew
are
them was roaches.
yeah.
I knew it.
They are. Water bugs are actually called American cockroach. It's the same thing if you ever go down south. You ever see a palmetto bug?
But it,
Okay, you'll see it. They live in the trees, and they call them a palmetto bug. And it's this, and it's basically a big roach. It's the water bug, palmetto bug,
Oh,
same thing.
yeah, I think I know what you're
Yeah,
talking
if
about.
you go down to Florida, whatever, but people, they change them names to make them
Yeah.
sound nicer, but it's a big roach.
They
So,
lay
like,
a
where
lot
did-
of eggs.
Where did water bug, like that name, even come from?
Water bug, pretty much from what I know of it, was a New York thing. And that's where people started using it because they just got tired of calling them roaches. And basically it came from around the pipes and came from, that's where people saw
Because
them.
they love water.
Right. Because
Yeah.
they mainly like dark places like a basement or
And when you turn on the light, they be
They be
Yeah,
scared.
so-
They be
gone.
out. Yeah, they be out.
But the other roaches are usually called the common ones that you see. The smaller ones are called German cockroaches, and most of they came from Germany.
Yeah.
so people bring them here.
Yeah, a matter of fact, just about everything that's bad was brought here. Rats are not indigenous to the United States.
So you ever have to like take out a whole tub to?
Yeah, sure.
Seriously?
If it calls for it.
And do you put the tub back? Or?
No, I tell I'm not a shoemaker. I'll do my job. I'll get the guy to remove it and put it back. But depending on what the situation is.
Do you deal with centipedes?
Sure, everything you name it. Centipedes are easy. That's easy. That's an easy one.
Do they they come in like nests too? Like you'll just maybe you'll remove something and just see like a lot of them.
Yeah, sure. The worst thing is when let's say I'm doing like a termite job, and termite jobs you have to kind of get in and under houses. So there'll be a crawl space under a house, and I have to go in there. And there's spiders, centipedes, and they're on you as you're crawling around. There's not, as a matter of fact, because this is our company, but we have about 12 employees, and most of the guys who work for us, they won't do it. And they basically go, okay, John, it's your turn. And I'm the biggest guy there, and I'm crawling through a hole about 12 inches big, but I don't get claustrophobic, so it doesn't bother me.
What was your worst bite?
My worst bite, probably hornet. When you get hit by a hornet, because little bees, like those regular bees, they don't really hurt when they sting you. It's not really that painful.
You had to go to the emergency room?
No, I almost did though. I did, but I jumped on and grabbed some Benadryl because it bit me on my ear, and my ear looked like elephant ears. They were
Wait, so what
completely
happened?
blew up. Hornets, like if you see hornets, they're like this big. They're about 1.5 inches big. And when they bite you, you think you got shot because you're like, what just happened?
All right, well, I'd like to thank you, John, for coming
Thank you.
and sharing with us. Make sure to tune in when we get back, and we're going to be talking about a few topics.
Got it?
Rescued from this lonely world by an angel fantasy, but she would never love a man like me. This is Tony Tamborelli from Aberration. You're listening to PANJ Radio live in the Green Room, Tuesdays from 5 to 6 p.m.
It's all authentic comfort food at Bitter Bob's in New Hope. Bob serves mouth-watering barbecued pork and chicken dishes, signature sloppy sandwiches, homemade cornbread, macaroni and cheese and collard greens, all the great southern dishes you crave for. Bob serves weekend brunch, lunch, and dinner, BYOB, with an outside patio that is dog-friendly, and he has a kids menu. Great desserts, too. And Bob can cater any event, big or small. Tell the waitstaff you heard this commercial and get 10% off. Bitter Bob's in New Hope, PA. Authentic comfort food for your family.
There's nothing as delicious as a freshly baked from scratch cake, cupcake, or cookie, and no one makes them yummier than Pudge Cakes in New Hope, PA. This whimsical bake shop specializes in handmade products created with the freshest quality ingredients. View their many original custom creations at Pudge Cake's website and Facebook pages. Mention this ad on your order of $150 or more and get 10% off. Pudge Cake is located at 45 Main Street. Drop by or give us a call at 215-862-5060.
Hi, I'm John Padovano. Join us on the first Thursday of each month At Network Lambertville in Lambertville, New Jersey, the most productive open networking group in our area. At Network Lambertville, we serve award-winning grape finale wines created in Flemington, New Jersey from Napa Valley grapes, a fully catered meal with past hors d'oeuvres, and fantastic desserts created by Pudge Cakes of New Hope, Pennsylvania. Network Lambertville is held at Green Birdie Productions' Green Screen Studio, located at 21 Bridge Street in Lambertville, New Jersey. It starts at 6 p.m. and dinner is served at 7:30 p.m. There's no fee to join our group, but we do ask for a $20 donation at the door to help cover expenses. Attendance is limited to 50 guests, so please log on to www.networklambertville.com to sign up and get more information. See you at the next Network Lambertville meetup.
Hello, and welcome back to the Stemcivics show. This is Angie talking, and thank you for listening. Today, Gerald, Jaria, and Miss Man, and Brianna, and I are going to be talking and debating about some controversial topics. Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Hi. So,
Hello.
Okay. Oh, go ahead,
Our
Andy.
first topic is the difference between suburban and urban schools. Are suburban schools really better than urban schools? Why or why not? What do you guys think?
Okay, so I'm gonna go first, and everybody's gonna basically say their answer, and then we're all gonna come back as one and comment on it. So, to answer the question, I personally feel as though suburban schools are kind of not necessarily better, but more so high tech. So what do you guys-
I also
think,
agree.
like on a technology level, they're better, but in
Yes.
like as a learning and getting an education, I don't think so. I think just the crowds of kids are very different.
And I also think that I agree to Gerald, and I also think that suburban schools learn faster. Like urban schools are like behind, kind of, and like suburban schools move at a faster, pace. But we're all learning the same thing, just at a different pace. I
Right.
believe.
Angie, what do you think?
I believe that suburban schools are, to be honest, schools are the same thing. Just different materials learned, and you get the concept very differently.
I think I agree with Brianna because like suburban schools, well, urban schools have more distractions. Like there's more distractions, like when they go home and all this other stuff. When you walk down the street, so they get distracted easily. So that's why their pace is like a little slow to me.
And I think it's like, I feel as though personally that kids at urban schools tend to have much more attitude, and they are very, like they carry themselves differently than people who go to suburban schools. So sometimes people's attitude and way of life and the way they do things can get away of, the level that they learn things at, as opposed to at a suburban school.
What about you, Ms. Man? What do you feel?
Well, I think looking at and hearing what you guys have been saying, it's really interesting because I went to a pretty suburban school, but I taught in almost all urban schools, which is kind of strange now that I think about it. And what I find is that what you guys are saying is true. There's slight differences, and a lot of it stems from the fact that the kids are just coming from a different environment. When you come from an urban area, there are different distractions than when you're in a suburban area. Like when I was growing up, if you didn't have a car, you literally could do very little things. You had to get your parents to drive you everywhere. If you had a sibling who could drive you, that'd be best. Whereas in urban areas, like when I was in St. Louis, kids could just go into downtown and go to the restaurants, into the arcades and whatever, and just walk, or public transportation. And that changes the attitudes of the students, because what they're responsible for in their everyday lives is very different.
Right.
Which I think creates a lot of different stressors and different environments.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would, I'm sorry, my voice is really sore. I believe that in general, schools, as I said, schools are the same, and yeah, you learn different concepts and you take concepts differently, but me seeing it from shows like Boy Meets World, Girl Meets World, or in general Saved by the Bell, they are shows where you don't really see much of, oh, you have to drive or whatever. Like, they're suburban schools, and in urban, being I can't remember that word, I'm sorry. Being taught by their parents to just, like, chill and just, like, have fun with your friends. But as Brianna and Gerald say, they don't really, it really doesn't matter. Like, I guess it's just different bringing up in that general, because as Gerald said, there's a lot of attitude, there's a lot of disrespect, and sometimes you find that really intriguing, and you'll be like, why?
Why do you think that most like the TV shows focus on suburban schools? Because I don't see a lot of urban schools being shown on TV.
No, that's right.
Yeah, I really never
just
thought
made
about
me
that.
think.
Yes, like that's actually right.
I feel like certain people focus on suburban schools when they do different shows, like Angie said, Saved by the Bell and different things like that, because they feel as though that's what high school should be. Like, every school should be like that. So it shouldn't be like a divide between suburban and urban. It should just be like, that's how every high school experience is. That's how every school is. But it's not like that.
Is there anything that you've seen on TV that you wish you, as urban school students, yes?
Yes, I wish my school was like High School Musical. Because like, high school on TV is so much better and fun.
But remember, it is TV.
Yeah,
I know.
I've seen a few movies though that have touched up on the urban school.
Oh, like
girl fight. You seen that?
No, I thought you were talking about Freedom Riders.
Yeah, Freedom Riders and stuff, but not too many.
Like, for me, I've seen I'm like a really big TV freak. Like, I love TV, but High School Musical. It's a it's a suburban school in an urban area. And honestly, I think it'll be cool if we had just like to break down dancing or singing every time we do something. Like, that'll be cool. And to me, it's just, I thought high school would be like that when I came out of middle school, and I was like, oh, we're gonna break out dancing or whatever, you know? So
like, how is your high school experience as opposed to maybe like what you've seen on TV and stuff?
Okay,
you okay?
I'm gonna go by the stereotypes. I feel like I'm the nerd who gets picked on. I'm sorry to say that, but it's the truth. Like, I live it every day. I literally get picked on every day. And thank God today wasn't a day where people picked on me. But as I said, I feel like I'm the nerd. Like, I don't care.
Nothing wrong with being the nerd.
I don't care.
The nerd.
I don't care. Like,
I'm a
like
nerd.
to be the nerd any day, because that's gonna get you somewhere.
Yeah, I actually like doing my work, and then you can call me a nerd all you want. Like, I would really choose my work over having fun. Like, I tell my friends, like, come on, we get our work done first, and then we'll have fun later. Like, I don't care. You could call me a nerd or whatever, but education is very important.
like, I just honestly feel that way.
You're not gonna get anywhere being like ignorant.
Right. I agree.
Yep.
I feel like my high school experience is like, I don't know, it just feels regular, just like going into middle school. I thought it was going to be something big and dramatic. It's just middle school.
And then teachers from middle school made it seem like high school was going to be, this big deal. And
it's
like
like
high
when
school, it's like, it's not a big change.
It's not. Once you get to it, you'll find it easy. Like me right now thinking, oh my God, when I go to college, it's about to be so hard. When I get there, it's probably not even going. Yeah. It'll just be like a walk through the park.
Because honestly, this is what I feel.
But maybe when they like talk about college hard, I think that like they're talking about, sorry, Angie.
It's okay.
They're talking about balancing like your party life, your fun life with your academics as well.
Right.
Because you know things are due, but then like you have choices in college, and like you got to make wise choices. So that's what I think is like the hard part.
Like, as I was saying, but, um, honestly, high school is just, you get prepared to be in high school. Like, you get prepared to be in college. What about you, Jaria? You're a freshman. What's up with that? Like, do you like it? Do you dislike it? What's the problem with it? Like, do you like it?
I honestly don't care. It's just like regular school. Yeah, it's just like regular school.
To you, it's regular school?
I guess. I don't know.
I have a really quick question before we move on. Before we move on to the next question. As a suburban school student, and as somebody who's worked with a lot of urban school students, so I've kind of seen both sides, but often at a strange distance. What do you think you guys, as people who live in an urban area, have that people who live in suburban areas don't have?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Like oh, go ahead.
You can have.
Oh yeah, she basically just said like, how do you feel like do you feel as though you don't have some of the things that people in a suburban school
other way
have,
around.
right? Oh, the other way
Do you
around.
think you have things that kids
We
in
have
suburban-
more opportunities.
No, I don't think so. I really don't think we have more
Yeah, I don't think
opportunities.
so
I
at
think they
all.
have a lot of opportunities more than us.
Right. I think
High
if anything,
tech, they have
if anything,
better lunch, I believe. Yeah.
I feel as though if anything, urban schools are more so like looked down upon. Like we don't really have a lot at all,
Right.
at all.
Because there's too many.
Some of these high schools in Trenton now doesn't even have air conditioners, and like we be hot
Right.
in the summer, and like people really can't concentrate with being hot.
Like
Like
I like my cousins go to Lawrence High, and I've been in there, and like that high school is seriously everything. Like that's the type of high school that I picture myself going to. There's nothing wrong with the one I'm at now. It's just like they have so much more, like just a lot. They have a
it was
lot.
just, yeah.
But Jara, you're talking about there are more opportunities. Like, what do you think what opportunities do you think you see?
I mean,
Because I would agree. I think there are a lot of opportunities in urban schools as well.
I think there's more opportunities, like, because you live around a city, like, you can be a doctor, you can be someone who works, I don't know, at a fast food restaurant, you can be all these other things where they don't really have, like, the opportunities for some reason, because everywhere you look, there's a place that you can work at, so there are
there's
more
like
opportunities.
opportunities outside of school for like internships and then business and like part-time jobs and stuff that in suburban schools
Like
would be
New York
harder to
City,
get to.
like-
That's true.
I'm gonna disagree with both because I believe they're both, like I said, I believe they're both the same. And yeah, you have more opportunities there in suburban, probably has better lunches than we do. But honestly, there's not really much to it because you go to the same places sometimes. Suburban, they don't really have much of a care because they expect their students to do better than urban. And we, like as Gerald said, we are down.
Looked down upon.
Yeah, they tend to do that to us. And yeah, we probably are the lowest standards and whatever, but we do have equal opportunities because if somebody from Lawrenceville can do it, we can do it too. We can go to-
That's what I agree, and I'm gonna
You can go
switch
to
up what I
Princeton,
said
whatever.
because at the end of the day, you can do whatever you want to do as you put your mind to it. So I mean, just because let's say you're going to be on a track team, just because necessarily your school doesn't have a track team, you can always join another. Like you can, I agree. I definitely agree.
All right, so then we want to move on to our next question.
Okay. So while talking about schools, everybody knows, we have tests and different things like that we have to prepare for. So do you guys feel as though tests are a good measure of student success?
Not at all.
Nope. You know why?
Why?
Because tests are just a way to make you feel. At the beginning, they're there to see what you have learned throughout the year, but at the end, you just feel dumb because sometimes you don't study for that test. Or like park, you don't really study for it, and half of the times you're not even prepared. Like last year, I didn't really do well in park, and I wasn't prepared for it. And to be honest, my scores could have been better if I was prepared. So honestly, I think tests are done to make somebody look dumb.
I feel as though
To touch upon, sorry, Gerald.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, I feel the same way because I feel like these tests that are given to us are to rank you as a person, and they're trying to dictate how smart you are and what you know. And I feel as though like that shouldn't be done because certain people are really smart and they're just bad test takers. Like they just get nervous and they crack under pressure and they don't really know like what to do. And that's me personally. Like I feel as though I am very smart,
And then, like,
but I'm not a good test taker.
Like, if I see that, like, say if question 1 is A, then question 2, 3, 4 is A, I'm just like, oh my gosh,
sometimes
is
that
this
like
wrong?
throws you out of the loop.
Yes, like it just made me second guess my answers. And then, like, last year, like Angie said, for the park, I really wasn't prepared and I really didn't take the park serious, but I did well.
Yeah,
but
me
I could have
too.
done better if I really
Same.
would have took it serious. But yeah.
Like, honestly, tests are, I'm sorry.
No, I wasn't going to talk. Go ahead.
Honestly, tests are just a way to rank you and to make you look like a number and to make you look to put you in a rank and to make you look like a number and from another person. Like if I'm a 1, Gerald's a 6, like I don't like to be ranked. I like to be freely as a human. I am not a number. I am not math. So why rank me? I don't like tests because of that reason. Your
Right.
score determines how smart you are, and as Gerald there are many people who are very, very smart, and we as a whole, I think everybody is smart. There are just times where you have to put your best to it, and if you don't, then, well, there's another opportunity. Sometimes there's not, but you just have to live your life with no regrets.
How do you guys feel as though we can measure a student's success? Like, if the tests don't do it, we all feel as though tests are just not, like, accurate. That you can't really gather how smart somebody is from a test. Like, how else can you figure you can gather
Their work
somebody how
effort.
smart? Yeah.
Their work effort, definitely.
Definitely.
How do you measure work effort, though? As a teacher, I'm curious because I always try to find different ways to test people because I know that tests are not like I'm a pretty good test taker, but that doesn't mean I'm particularly smart.
Right.
Right. So I'm always trying to figure out different ways to measure just how well you guys know the material. So what would you guys suggest?
I guess
Like,
Hands-on.
give
I
them-
love hands-on.
Hands-on?
Oh yeah, I also love hands-on. Give them work, see what they know.
I feel as though like classwork and stuff like that should be taken into consideration and like, you know,
Yes.
report card grades and things like that. Like whatever that person got at the end of the marking period, that should like you really can go based off of that because somebody can have, like Brianna said, like she's a straight A student, but she really feels as though she didn't really do too good on the part. And it doesn't have anything to do with how smart she is. It's just, you know, she wasn't prepared or whatever.
And I get nervous, and
Right.
I'm just like, oh my gosh, I never seen none of these words before, and it just trips me up.
And a lot of the times the stuff that's on the test, we really
even
didn't even
learn.
learn. Like, oh, well, I feel as though we didn't learn it. I feel as though the park is just, they just throw anything on there.
Okay,
Anything.
I got a question. It's part of the thing. It's part of the standardized testing. What are some good tips you can give those who are not good test takers? Like, I personally think flashcards don't help.
Well, there are a lot of good test taking techniques that I went over before.
Yeah, like having a good breakfast, getting a good night's sleep.
And then like process of elimination and different
Yes.
stuff like that. But I'm not really a good test taker, so we really can't take it
But
from
sometimes,
me.
like, all that just don't work for me. I just be like, okay, so I'm down to 2. I don't know which one. It's a 50-50 chance. I just get so tripped
You
out.
take the 50-50 chance. Believe me, I've been there.
I don't really get nervous. I just get tired. Like my brain needs rest.
I heard
You have a
chewing
brain
gum
fart.
during a test actually helps.
It does.
Yeah,
it does. I chew gum all the time, and it does. It helps so much.
It helps me a lot in a lot of stuff. Like even when I'm running during cross country, I don't know why, but it helps me when I'm running and like I have better, I don't know, stamina, whatever.
So, and I think if you guys are asking for test taking practice or skills, strategies, yeah. I mean, it is very tiring. That's one of the things that I always find really interesting is that the SAT is 3 hours. You sit there from 9 a.m. until 12:30, 1 o'clock.
Oh yeah, I'm
and
scared
you
to
sit
take
there,
the SAT.
and you get breaks. It's like 30-minute sections, and you get 10-minute breaks between them. But it's still long tests. And Park is on the computers now, so you're staring at a screen for a really long time. And
That's
so something
radiation
that's
to your
bad enough.
eyes.
it's bad for your eyes. So something that I find that is helpful with those things is you kind of close your eyes every few minutes. So like after you've done a reading and answered a few questions, and you have a couple seconds, close your eyes a little bit, let them rest, refresh yourself a little bit, recenter, and then refocus and come back, because that moment, you need that minute of stop.
And I feel,
And then something that also trips me up is when someone say, "Oh, you have to pass this test to graduate," or
I don't like
I'm just
that.
be like, "Oh my gosh!" Like it's just so much pressure on me.
I feel like time constraint can play a part in why people get tripped up. Like,
That's true.
they could be writing an essay or whatever, and then time starts running out, and
10
then
more
they just like, oh
minutes.
my god, and maybe they won't finish as strongly as they started, and that can cause their score to go down or something. Like, that could play a part in it too.
Quick question: Do you recommend Park for other schools or just us?
I mean, Park is for a lot of the country at this point.
Like, I don't like Park. I'm sorry.
It's, I think, growing pains. I don't know where I stand on the Park. I've never taken it. I just teach it. But it's complicated. There's a lot of politics, and there's a lot of research and a lot of testing that has to go on before we figure out whether it's a good test. And I think by and large students don't like it. I don't think anybody likes any standardized test though.
Do you think that the New Jersey Ass or the Park was easier?
I think they're just different. Yeah, I don't know if one was easier. I don't know if one was easier or more difficult. I think they're just different, and some teachers are more used to one to the other, and so they're just used to teaching one or the other. And there's a lot of other stuff going on beyond just a student taking the test, which is, of course, the root of everything.
Well, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in and, listening to our opinions. This is the Stemcivics Show, and we'll be back next time.
Goodbye.
Thank you.